Hello and welcome to this tutorial to help you learn more about building Workbooks reports. In this session, we're looking at how you can share the information that you've captured in reports and charts. For the vast majority of Workbooks users, by default, when you create a report, the only people who have access to it are you and any users with system administrator capabilities. If you've got advanced security in place on your database, this scenario might be different. Sometimes it's okay that it's only you that can access the report as well as sysadmin, because you might have created it just to test something out. But generally speaking, you're likely to want to share the report with other users, or possibly with people who don't even have access to your database. So that's what we're going to be looking at. There are 4 ways to share information that you've put into a report. And the first is by using the sharing padlock, which is just the same as sharing any other record in Workbooks. Alternatively, you could set up a scheduled email that's sent on a regular basis defined by you. This is a good way to send information to people who don't have access to Workbooks, and you can send both reports and charts this way. You can add a collection of reports and/or charts to a dashboard, and then share the dashboard with the relevant users. This is probably the most common way of sharing information within your database. And the 4th way is by modifying the configuration of your system to show information held on reports on other records. You can add data from a specific cell, you can add the whole report grid, or you can create tabs on records that display reports or dashboards. The first approach, the padlock approach, is the most straightforward, and you may well have used the padlock on other record types. You simply open it up, click Add Rule, and choose a person or a user group to share the report with, and I'll show you this inside Workbooks in a couple of minutes. Sending reports via email can be a good way to provide information to people both inside and outside of your business. They're a really good way of reminding people of things they need to take action on. For example, you might email your account managers each month with a list of outstanding invoices that they need to chase up with their customers. The emails you send can be scheduled to go as frequently as every hour or as infrequently as once a month, depending on what you need to achieve. Reports can be sent in line in the body of the email, or you can attach them as either a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet. Charts are attached to your email as either a PNG image file or as a scalable vector graphic. And there's even a setting that means the email won't be sent if the reports attached are empty. So going back to my earlier example, if there are no customers with overdue invoices, the email won't be sent to the account managers. Any emails that are sent are stored within Workbooks and can be seen on the Emails tab of the schedule. Dashboards are the most common way to share reports and charts within Workbooks, and they give you real-time visibility of what's going on in your business. Typically, they're used to collect together information that's relevant to particular job functions or roles, but you can display whatever information that you choose. In addition to displaying reports and charts, you can add web pages and also call web processes from a dashboard. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just looking at reports and charts. You can create different views of the data in your dashboard using filters, which makes the dashboard much more flexible, and it also means that you don't have to build so many variations of it. For example, in the dashboard on the screenshot at the moment, filters have been set up to focus on sales territories, on specific sales reps, and even on the industry sector. You can drill through data on the charts and reports to access the underlying detailed information within the report itself. If you've got system administrator capabilities, you can use data from reports to add information to your Workbooks records. For example, you might want a report cell, which can include conditional formatting like the one on the screen at the moment, to give a visual representation of the account health of your customer. Alternatively, you can embed a grid report to show you more information. This one shows more information about the sales history that the customer has had with you. And you can even add reports and dashboards as tabs to your records. As I mentioned though, configuring this is something that system admins take care of, so I'm not going to cover it in this reporting tutorial. I just wanted to make sure that you know it's possible. I'm going to go over to Workbooks now and open it up to show you these approaches. I'm going to start by showing you the sharing padlock. So here's the landing page for reports with the My Reports view showing. These reports are all showing because either I created them or I'm watching them, and the concept of watching is covered in an end-user training video. By default, when you create a report, only you and users in the system admin group can see that report. You can see here actually the third column on the screen at the moment shows who these particular reports have been shared with. And it's only this one, the Open Sales Leads by Month one, that has been shared with anybody other than the default of System Admin. So it's been shared with the Marketing Executive. Hopefully you're familiar with the sharing padlock that you see in Workbooks. It appears in the top right hand corner of every record. And with reports you have to be in edit mode to see it. So I'll open this up. And here in the top right is the sharing padlock. When I click on it, you can see that the owner of the record, which is me, has got read, modify, delete, change owner and change permissions on this particular report. Users in the System Admin group can also do all of those things, and because this report has been shared previously, users in the Marketing Executive group are able just to read the report. They can't modify it, but they can read it. If you want to give it access to anybody else, just click on Add Rule, and in the drop down here you will see a list of all the user groups in your database as well as specific individual users. So take your pick as to who you want to share things with. If you want to share the report with all users, then I would recommend choosing the Everyone group, because all users in your database are in that group. Be cautious about giving modify permissions to other users in case they change your report without you realizing it and your report possibly no longer shows the data in it that you want. Now that I've changed the padlock permissions, you can see that the Open Sales Leads by Month is shared now with the Everyone group as well. Let's look at how to send out reports and charts via a scheduled email, and to do that you need to be on the reporting landing page. On the left hand side you'll see views for all scheduled emails as well as my scheduled emails. In this database at the moment you can see all the rows in the right hand grid are greyed out because these schedules have been disabled, they're not live at the moment. But if I wanted to make one of them live, you simply open it up and put a tick in the box next to Enable. You check all the other fields were right as well before doing that, but let's assume they are. And when I save and close this, you can see that the monthly billings one now isn't greyed out anymore, that it is actually active. If you want to set up a new scheduled email, then click the button near the top. Change the subject, otherwise all your scheduled emails will have the same subject. The emails will go out in line with the schedule that you set up, which is further down on the screen. But if at the time that the schedule kicks in, the report that you're trying to send, or reports plural, are empty and you don't want to send the email, you can suppress it on that occasion. And you do that by taking the tick out of this checkbox. If you leave it there, the email will be sent according to the schedule, regardless of whether or not the reports themselves have any content. In terms of the schedule, you've got choices to schedule things for hourly, daily or monthly. If you want things to go weekly, choose the daily option and then just select if you wanted it to go out on a Tuesday. Just make sure that from the checkboxes on the right, the relevant day is selected. And you can see here that you can specify a particular time for this to be sent. The Enable checkbox is ticked by default when you set up a new scheduled email. And you can specify an end date if you like. If you do that, the tick will disappear out of the Enable checkbox in line with whichever date you select. Further down is where you give information about who this scheduled email has to go to. It can be somebody that's in your system, if you like, or it could be just an email address for somebody that you haven't got in your system. I guess the question then would be, why haven't you got a record for them? But both work fine. And then write in your message here about what it is that you're sending them. To specify which reports and charts you want to send, go to the Reports tab at the top and click on either Add Chart or Add Report. I'm going to click on Add Chart. You have to know the name of the report that your chart is attached to. So I'll just choose this one, and you also have to, if there are multiple charts, you have to specify which one it is that you want to attach. I'll leave it as pipeline. And here's where you get the choice of whether it's going as a PNG or an SVG. If you're not sure if you've selected the right chart, there is a button here. Click on it to see the chart itself and decide, oh no, perhaps that wasn't the one you wanted. in which case you can choose an alternative and then click Save and Close. And repeat that as many times as you need to attach the charts that you want to go with the email. Similarly with adding a report, you need to know the name of the report. And again, if there are multiple different views of that report, then you need to select the relevant one. You then get the choice of sending something inline or attached as either a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet. Just something to mention there, if you choose to send it inline, then the number of rows shown inline will tally with the number of rows specified in your preferences. So for example, if you've got your preferences set to show 20 rows in any grid view and the report contains 50 rows, the recipients are going to miss out on 30 rows of data. So generally, we'd advise sending your report as an attachment to make sure that all the rows are visible. But once you're happy, and again, you can attach multiple reports if that's what you need to do. When you're done, typically I would advise that you replace the to's addresses here with your own and just try clicking Send Now. So send a copy to yourself just to check that you're happy with the way it works. And assuming you are, you're good to click Save and Close now. If not, make the necessary alterations and then save and close. As I mentioned in the slides, probably the most popular way of sharing reports and charts is by putting them onto a dashboard. There is a separate tutorial covering the setup of dashboards, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but you'll find dashboards by clicking on the desktop icon for them, that's up in the top left of my screen at the moment, or by navigating using the start arrow to the dashboard's landing page. You'll see any dashboards that you own and all the dashboards that you've been given access to, just like any other landing page. If I go back to my dashboards and open this one called Webinar Charts, this particular dashboard has been set up to have 3 columns, but it might only have 2 or possibly even only 1. But you can see that there are different elements, as we call them, on the dashboard, showing different charts and so on. And if I scroll down, there's also some reports in here, not just charts. This dashboard's been set up to have filters for sales territory, sales rep and industry, which is just like the one that was on the screenshot in the PowerPoint slides. So for example, if I was to say that the sales territory contains North and apply those filters, you can see that those charts are redrawing, they're being loaded, but only with the data for the sales reps who work for the Northern Territory. And you can have that cascade down through every element on your dashboard if you choose to. To make the dashboards easier to access so that you don't have to go to the dashboard landing page, you can create a desktop shortcut for them in the same way as you can with any record in Workbooks. So you go up to the icon in the top left hand corner and click Add to Favorites Desktop, give it a name, whatever you want it to be, and when you click OK, that particular dashboard is now on my desktop. And if I open it again, the other thing you might like to consider to make dashboards easy to access is using the push pin here so that this particular dashboard will load every time that I log into Workbooks. So you've got some choices about how you access the dashboards themselves. If you want to modify a dashboard, add something else to it, or take something away even, assuming that you've been given edit permissions for the particular dashboard, or if it's one of yours, then you will have Edit This Dashboard, go to the Layout tab, and very similar to setting up your scheduled emails, click on Add and choose whether you're adding a chart or a report. And there it is, it's been added to your dashboard. Finally, I talked about being able to modify the configuration of your records using reports. On the record here, which is an organisation record for Atlantic Computer Services, there's a field called Account RAG, as in red, amber, green, and you can see that there is a red cell here. That's actually being driven by a report cell that's got conditional formatting applied to it to control the colour of both the text and the background. Further down the screen, there is just a regular pick list field called Account Health. If I were to change the Account Health to another colour and save the record, you'll see that the Account RAG field has changed in line with the option that I chose, because it's going and fetching that information from a report, and the report is looking at the value in the Account Health field. If I change the layout of the record to the sales layout using the View button in the top right, I can still see the account rag field, and it's still green because I haven't changed the value in it, but I'm seeing a different layout of this organisation record, including this section here titled Sales History. That's actually an embedded grid report showing me how long it is since we sold anything to this company, and also what we sold in terms of product category. That's the kind of information that might be useful to people in a sales team. Finally, if I go to the tab up here that's called Product Sales by Category, we're looking at a dashboard that's got a couple of charts on it comparing the product categories that we've sold to this company this year compared with the product categories that we sold to this company last year. So it's a really good visual way of showing the change, if any, that there has been in the sorts of products that a customer's buying. As I've mentioned previously, you do need to have system administrator capabilities to make these changes to records, so I'm not going to cover how to set them up in this session, but do look out for tutorials covering that in our system administrator videos. To recap then, there are 4 ways to share reports. You can share an individual report using the sharing padlock, which is only visible to you when you're in edit mode on the report. You can set up a scheduled email to send reports and charts to anyone, whether they're Workbooks users or not. Dashboards allow you to collect together reports and charts into one easy-to-see place, and they usually provide information for particular users in the system, such as the finance team, the marketeers, the salespeople or the support team, that type of thing. And finally, another form of sharing reporting information is to enhance your configuration with report cells, with grids, and either reports or dashboards on tabs. So thank you for watching this tutorial about how to share report information. I hope you found it useful. If you need general help on Workbooks reporting, please go to our knowledge base, and if you go to workbooks.com/help/reporting, it will be specific information to reporting topics.